Well, all right. Welcome everybody to another episode of Hot Seat Automotive Podcast. It's your buddy CJ here, and tonight we're talking about all things automotive industry, the car guy hobby, all the things that real gearheads love talking about. Real Gearhead Talk. This is the place to be for that real gearhead talk. Welcome back, everybody. All my subscribers. You know, I love and appreciate each and every one of you. If you're new to the channel, this is a wonderful place to hang out, talk about cars, talk about exotic cars, supercars, classic cars, motorsports, what's going on in the automotive industry with all of the manufacturers, automotive events, road trips, rallies, car meets, you name it. Give me a like and subscribe. If this sounds like something you're interested in, come on and hang out with your buddy CJ. We have fun around here and we tell it like it is about all things car guy stuff, car girl stuff, real automotive enthusiast stuff. Guys, let's get right into it. Tonight, I kind of got something fun I want to talk about with you. You know, over the past few months, the channel has grown just unbelievably and really blown my mind. And I've gotten to meet a lot of you and gotten to chat with you on Instagram, Hot Seat Gearheads, or you've left me comments. Folks have asked me about my history as an automotive enthusiast. You know, what kind of cars was I into as a kid? How did I get started in this hobby? I'm a lifelong car guy for decades. This has been one of my primary hobbies. And that's really what inspired me to start the podcast here. We're just having a great time. But tonight I want to talk to you about my first car. Your buddy CJ is going to lay it out for you, talk to you about where I was at as a young man, what I decided to buy when I was looking for my first car, and what that experience was like, as much of it as I can remember. So guys, let's go ahead and get right into it. I want you to go back in time with me. We're going to go back in time to when your buddy CJ was kind of coming of age, and I was a young teenager, I'll tell you, in the mid to late 1980s. It was a different time back then. Guys, first things first, it was so different back then. You know, what do I mean by that? Our priorities as teenagers, and guys, tell me if you can relate to this. Getting your driver's license was a really big deal. It wasn't an important thing, it was the only thing. It was so important to 90% plus of all the kids. All the kids at school, what did we talk about in our freshman, particularly our sophomore years in high school? We talked about getting our driver's license. When's your date? When's your birthday? Are you taking driver's lessons? Are your parents teaching you? Did you get your learner's permit? We were all about it, and we dreamed about it. And now, if you were an automotive enthusiast, if you were a car guy as a kid, what did we do? In the mornings before school, we went to the stationery store or the local variety store, right? We bought the Hot Rod magazines, the Motor Trend. We looked at all the supercars, the exotic cars, the classic cars, cars we could only dream of owning someday. We got to the bus stop. We talked about cars. We went to school at the lunch table. We talked about cars. It was kind of cars and music. Back then, oh, hell, we had Bon Jovi on the radio, right? We had Prince, Madonna, MC Hammer. Come on, Run DMC. What were you into? Leave me those comments if you know what I'm talking about. This was the 1980s. This was the MTV generation. I'm trying to paint the picture for you guys. You getting the vibe? You getting a feeling for what it was like when your buddy CJ was a teenager in the mid to late 1980s? What it was all about. It was about cars and music and having a good time with your friends, you know, and cruising on a Friday night. We really didn't go out on Thursday nights. I wasn't allowed to go out on a Thursday night. But when Friday night or Saturday night would come around, your buddy CJ and countless other teenagers across the country, right, we were all about going cruising. Whether there was a burger joint or a diner or a beach or a park, you all would cruise. We all dreamed about getting our driver's license, having our own car, having that freedom. It was just such a big deal. And, you know, maybe for some of you who are around my age, you know, you can relate to it. You say, CJ, I had the same experience. Leave me those comments. But I think for, you know, possibly some of those millennials and some of the, you know, the Gen Z folks, they don't have as much interest and haven't had as much interest in getting their driver's licenses. And I think there's been something lost in the automotive enthusiast hobby. That's my perception. It's not quite what it was. Yes, there are still, refreshingly, there's still lots of young fresh blood getting into the hobby. And hopefully, if my podcast is helping in some way and getting you young cats jazzed about the hobby, come on, let me know in the comments. I've already met and talked to a lot of you. Makes me feel so good, warms my heart. But in all seriousness, guys, there's been, I'd say a general reduction in the level of interest. And look, we didn't have Instagram back then. Okay. We didn't have DoorDash. We didn't have Uber. You weren't going to take a cab and go out with your buddies. If anything, you got a ride from mom in the family truckster, in the station wagon. You didn't want that. You dreamed of getting your driver's license. Instead of staying home and watching TV on a Friday night, you could go out and do something. These are the things we dreamed about. So your buddy CJ, I grew up, I kind of grew up lower middle class, maybe. I don't know. Go back in time and look at the class structures, but I'm just trying to give you a feel for the vibe. I grew up working class, if you will, and I think that's relevant because I always worked. I was cutting lawns in the neighborhood for as long as I could remember. I was raking leaves. Okay, I was saving up that money. You know what I was saving for? I wasn't even saving for college at the time. I'll be blunt. I'll be real with you. I was dreaming of getting my own car. That's what it was all about. Back in the 80s, if you were a teenager, okay, probably even, getting into the late 80s, early 90s, you were all about it. That was the rite of passage that we all wanted. And a lot of us worked. You went to work in a grocery store. I know I did. I think after I did my stint of cutting grass, raking leaves, and babysitting in the neighborhood, I ended up working in a deli, washing dishes and taking out garbage and stocking shelves. I then went to work in a couple of grocery stores. It was a great experience. I learned a lot working in those stores. Why is that relevant? Because as a young car guy, okay, all along doing all these side jobs, working all these jobs in high school, okay, what am I dreaming of? I'm dreaming of getting my driver's license, getting behind the wheel of my own car. That's what it was all about. It was such a big deal for those of us who came of age in, mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s. Hopefully I've communicated that vibe to you. So I reached a certain point, and what did I end up buying? A couple things I want you to know. There was no way in hell. Let me be blunt. There was no way in hell your buddy CJ's father was going to let me get a performance car. No way. Some of you cats out there know your buddy CJ personally. You might know my dad. Love my dad. But there was no way he was letting me get a performance car. That's just, his values, his style of parenting. I'm not breaking his chops. Love you, Dad. But in all seriousness, he wanted me to get something safe and sane. And I think that makes sense. I respect that now. Now, at the time, I wanted to get a high-performance Camaro or a Monte Carlo SS. Okay? But that wasn't happening. Dad said no. So if you'd asked me if we could go back in time, I was a Camaro guy growing up. I loved the Monte Carlo SSs, of course, the Grand Nationals. Okay? Which is why, next best thing, what did I end up buying? Check it out. Now, this is the only surviving photo that I am aware of your buddy CJ's first car. This is it. This was an actual photo of my first car. This is a 1983 Pontiac Grand Prix. Okay, I bought this with my own money, saved up, cutting grass, washing dishes, working in grocery stores, raking leaves, you name it. Your buddy CJ, when I was 15 years old, I was able to buy this car. I think I paid $3,500 or $3,800 for it. Keep in mind, this was the mid to late 80s, okay? And this particular Pontiac Grand Prix had some pretty good mileage on it. I bought it from the original owner, did not buy it through a dealership. This car probably had 70,000 miles on it. I seem to remember that. But the car was in really good shape, and my dad took me to go look at it. He approved. As I mentioned, my dad did not want me to have a performance car. There was no way my dad was going to let me have a real performance car. So the next best thing for me was to get a car like this 1983 Pontiac Grand Prix. Now, we can laugh about this now, and I'm grateful that I was able to buy the car that I had. But this car had the 3.8-liter Buick V6. So check it out, guys. For those of you who don't know, this particular platform, Oldsmobile, Pontiac, Buick, and Chevrolet all made very similar cars, whether it was the Cutlass as the Oldsmobile, the Regal as the Buick, okay, the Monte Carlo as the Chevy, or the Grand Prix as the Pontiac. That's what I had. And they put the 3.8 liter V6 in this car. That engine produced 110 horsepower and 190 foot-pounds of torque. This was a carbureted V6 engine, had a 3-speed automatic transmission. This was not a fast car. This car could barely accelerate going uphill. This was a boat with some sharp looks. Like, I got a lot of compliments on this car. Listen, this wasn't a rich kid car by any stretch. I was not a rich kid. I paid for this myself. I paid for the car. I paid for the insurance, all those other things. My parents helped me when they could, okay, and when I needed it. But I paid for this car myself. This was my pride and joy, and I really enjoyed it. But 0 to 60, eventually. Okay, this car would do 0 to 60, I think, in 14 or 15 seconds. I never even timed it back then. A quarter mile, yeah, eventually. Quarter mile was probably 20 seconds plus in this car, okay? This car weighed somewhere in the order of 3,300 pounds. 3,300 pound car with 110 horsepower, you do the math, right? You weren't setting any speed records. This was not a performance car. This was a good cruiser for a young man in the 1980s. How do you like that? A couple things I remember about this Grand Prix that were unique, and maybe some of you guys who are from the same era of me will remember, and some of you young cats, just so you know, where was the gas cap in the gas filler for a 1983 Pontiac Grand Prix? Anybody know? I'll tell you, it was behind the rear license plate. You would fold down. It was kind of a Pontiac thing. You would fold down. It had a spring-loaded license plate frame. You'd fold that down, and there's the gas cap. It was kind of a pain in the butt. You had to open the gas cap and open the door and jam the gas cap in there, and then put the. Listen, you didn't have the disruption to the body lines and the body panels caused by the gas filler, but nobody does that anymore, to my knowledge. Leave me comments if you had a car like that. One thing I really liked about this car, and I've liked about Pontiacs over the years, the interiors. If you compare, like a Monte Carlo interior with a Grand Prix interior, I claim Pontiac had more of a sporty, fulsome appearance on the interior, and not just in this car. I think Pontiac, between all the General Motors, if I compare like a Pontiac Firebird Trans Am with a Camaro Z28, listen, the Pontiacs I just think had cooler interiors, more sporty. I'll say that they were more sporty. How do you like that? Compare with an Oldsmobile or Buick, more of a luxury vibe. Chevy, kind of the working man's car. Pontiac has always been, we build excitement was their logo. Now, your buddy CJ's 1983 Pontiac Grand Prix was not an exciting car to drive. Real talk. This car could not really accelerate going up hills. I remember that. I could not really accelerate going up hills. And I remember years later when I got my first performance car, mind equals blown. My mind was blown when I found out that there were actually performance cars that could jet up a hill and accelerate. This was just, these have been memories of mine as a car guy over the years. But, after having my first car, that 1983 Pontiac Grand Prix with that 3.8 liter, 231 cubic inch Buick V6, not much of a performance car at all. But it was a very cool car, and I was grateful for it. And I enjoyed the heck out of this car. I had it for years. I even did some wacky things. I painted a skull and crossbones on the hood at one point. Now I know it was wacky, but these are the things that teenagers did back then. Well, I did. I don't know if you did them. I did it. I had a skull and crossbones on my hood. Background was kind of flat black with the white skull and crossbones. I wish I had a photo of that to show you guys, but I don't. If anybody out there has photos of my car from back then, it was kind of well known around town for that. A couple other things you'll notice in this photo. That photo was actually taken in front of my parents' house, and I can see that I had just washed the car, which is me, right? I like keeping a clean car. To this day, I keep my stuff clean, and I can see all the water. I don't know if you can make it out online in this grainy photo from the 1980s, but I had just washed the car curbside at my parents' house, as I did so often. And I was probably heading out for cruising that night in my 1983 Pontiac Grand Prix. A lot of great memories in that car. It was a solid car. I don't remember having many problems with it at all. It was a comfortable car. It was a safe car. And I just enjoyed the heck out of it. And that was kind of where my automotive enthusiast journey began. I will tell you one story. You'll notice the wheels on this car. I believe those are actually Buick wheels. When I bought this car, it came with hubcaps, okay? Steel wheels and hubcaps. My father got these wheels someplace and gave them to me, and they were kind of corroded. I took the time to polish them with Scotch-Brite and steel wool, SOS pads, whatever I used, really cleaned them up. I got some center caps for them. And I'll never forget, my Uncle Rich came to town to visit. My Uncle Rich, rest in peace, he's no longer with us. Him and my father were certainly car guys and truck guys. And a lot of my love for cars I get from just having a family that has a heritage in the automotive realm, in the truck realm, and just always in and out of garages, always in my youth with my dad. Well, my uncle came to town right around the time when I had just got this car. And one of the things I wanted to get with those sporty wheels that my father was able to get for me, I wanted to get 4 sets of chrome lug nuts. And I found them at a shop, but I was saving my money. My Uncle Rich, bless his heart, God bless him, he gave me the cash to go and buy all lug nuts for the car, all chrome lug nuts. I will never forget that. It was really touching back then and has left an impression on me. And I'm grateful to my Uncle Rich. I think he recognized it because he was a young man at one point, and he grew up as a car guy together with my father and all the adventures they had. I think they kind of saw it in me. They saw me out there polishing those wheels, and I even painted the black. If you know about these Buick rally wheels, as I would call them, sport wheels, if you will, I repainted the black, and I really wanted to get those chrome lug nuts. God bless. Thank you, Uncle Rich. Rest in peace. I know you're in a better spot, but I'm sharing that memory as a car guy. And if you guys have similar memories, please do share. But brings back fond memories. And, I'm so grateful to have had the upbringing that I had as a young car guy and some of the wild adventures in this car. But we will save that. We will put a pin in that. It's confidential. No, guys, listen, I'm being funny. But those are some of your buddy CJ's memories of my first car, 1983 Pontiac Grand Prix, back in the 80s. Now, my ask of you got to tell me what your first car was. What was your first car? Your buddy CJ wants to know. Tell me all about it. Leave me those comments. Give me a like and subscribe. Guys, your buddy CJ loves you. Looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Hit me up on the gram. Come on, slide into my DMs. Hot Seat Gearheads on Instagram. We just have a lot of fun on the gram. We have fun right here on the channel. Come on, keep those comments coming, guys. Until I speak to you on the next one, peace.